Okay, the next step is fairly complicated. I'm going to make the bridge. The reason I say it's fairly complicated is because this is a multi-scaled instrument. The bridge doesn't sit perpendicular to the center line. It'll be turned sideways, and because of that turning, drilling the holes for the bridge pins where the strings will start is a little more complicated than if the bridge were sitting straight across. I want the string spacing to be 55 millimeters, and that's 55 millimeters if the bridge were straight. But when I turn the bridge so that it lines up properly with the frets and I get the right scale length at the treble and the bass side, I actually need the spacing to be wider than 55 millimeters. It works out to be 57.2 millimeters. So as I said, I had some calculating to do before I actually started building this. So I've got this block of ebony roughed out, and I scraped it so that it conforms to the top of the guitar. Nice tight fit all the way across. So now I'm going to cut the slot for the saddle, and after I do that, I'll drill the holes for the bridge pins, but I want to get the saddle slot cut first. So here's the bridge block. The bridge, when it's finished, will be 3/8 of an inch thick, and I've got the table saw blade set to give me a 3/16 of an inch depth of cut. That'll make the saddle sit halfway down the bridge. You want at least half of the saddle sitting below the surface of the bridge, otherwise it might tip forward with string pressure. So 3/16 is a good depth. That'll keep the saddle from moving anywhere. Now I can't just freehand drill 6 holes that are, within a fraction of a millimeter of being dead center. I have this drill jig, and it's got spacing anywhere from 2 1/8 to 2 3/8 of an inch in 32nd of an inch increments. So I made some test pieces and lined them up right where the bridge is supposed to go, and then used straight edges on the extreme ends, like the E strings, to see which of these 6 choices on this drilling jig would give me exactly the spacing that I need. And 2 1/4 was too wide, 2 5/32 was too narrow, but 2 3/16 of an inch was just right. So now I will use this jig and drill the holes in my piece of ebony. These will just be obviously pilot holes. Then I can enlarge them, and then I'll have all the bridge pin holes done. Here it is with the 6 holes. They're 3/16 of an inch in diameter and nicely spaced. So now I can start shaping the wings of the bridge just with a taper, and then I'll shape the profile of it. Here's the shape, and now I will cut down the wings of the bridge. Don't need all that weight. So I'll do that on the bandsaw and then refine it with a sander. So I've got this the shape that I want it to be, and got the wings of the bridge down to just under 1/8 of an inch. And the last thing I need to do now is curve the top of the bridge to sort of match the 12-inch radius of the fretboard. Then I can be done with it. Oh, and I'm also going to reduce the thickness of the bridge at the back edge here behind the bridge pins. It doesn't need to be nearly that thick, and it's just adding extra weight to the bridge, which of course is probably going to adversely affect the sound of the guitar. So take down all that. Scrape, scrape, scrape. So that's the mostly finished bridge. As you can see, I angled the ends of the wings. I just thought it looked better than keeping them squared off. And I chamfered the bridge pin holes. That's really all I need to do now. I can finish sanding the instrument and get ready to put the finish on it. I wanted to have the bridge done first so that I could mask off this area and not put lacquer on it. It's just easier to not ever have put lacquer on it rather than to scrape away the stuff that's there. And really the only thing left to do with the bridge itself is a little bit more sanding and buffing it to make it a little bit shiny, but that can be done anytime.